Now to our special series we're calling Inspired By, where we pay tribute to the person or persons who made the biggest impact on our lives. And of course, HODA woman has to be different. She picked two people.
I sure did. They're both very, very special to me. Two people that I chose, that I met just by chance, and they made such a difference in my life that I realized that inspiration is all around us. I was ill with breast cancer. I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to discuss it. And when Matt Lauer asked me to go on a Where in the World is Matt Lauer, I was thrilled because I wanted anything not to be sitting in my apartment healing, you know. I was on the plane ride coming home and I was not feeling good. And all I wanted to do was to curl up in a blanket, put my headphones on, and just sleep the pain away. You know when you feel like that? And I was right here. And I heard the guy next to me go, "How you doing?" I go, "Hey."
She was just putting in those, I think maybe one earplug was in, or maybe not one earplug was in, but clearly the iPod was out.
"You work at the Today Show?" I go, "Yeah."
I didn't know whether she wanted to be in the conversation or out of the conversation when we started.
So he asked me questions about myself. I said, "Well, I had an operation." He goes, "Well, what kind of operation did you have?" I go, "Oh my God." I go, "Okay." I said, "I had breast cancer."
And we began to talk about her cancer and her fight with cancer and where she was in her life.
He said, "Breast cancer's part of you." He said, "It's like going to college or getting married or working at NBC." And I will never forget what he said because it changed the course of my life. He said,
"Don't hog your journey. Share your journey with others. And you're a power of example. Think of what you're able to accomplish."
And that statement changed my life. It's funny. A story you've repeated and thought about and still makes you feel like that. Anyway, and since Ken had that conversation with me on the plane, I walk in breast cancer walks, I speak at breast cancer events. If I hadn't gotten sick, if I hadn't met Ken, if I hadn't gotten brave, I wouldn't be where I am.
I met HODA in the Cayman Islands at a breast cancer gala that I was invited to.
It was so funny because when I look at Jill, all I see is the light from her eyes. And I wanted to be in her aura, in her circle. And I knew that she had had breast cancer at some point. And if you look closely, you see one breast and the other is flat.
If I show my scars, it's going to help so many other people out there, because even if you don't have a scar on the outside, you might have one in the inside.
She said, they told me that I have, months to live, and the room just was dead silent. I'll never forget what she said after that.
I'm going to die the happiest woman in the world, so thank you so much.
And the weird thing is, I think she was the luckiest girl in the room. And I looked at her and I thought, you know what? I'd rather live to be 35 years old and be Jill than live to be 65 years old and be that cranky woman who was just complaining about the dinner.
I keep a journal that I write in for my nieces. If I'm not around, the advice that I would give them, I would always be that angel looking over you. Every time I have a thought in my mind that something that I would tell them, I just go and I write in the journals. Whenever they would want to ask me something, they can just open up the journal and there's my answer.
You know she's ill and you know that her time is limited, but somehow you want nothing more than to be like her.
I say positive because to me, it's the word life. I have life today.
If you had the medical problems that Jill has, who wouldn't be shaking their fist at God saying, "Why me?" But not her.
You just take every moment and you cherish it and don't worry about the stuff that you can't have. Focus on what you do have.
She just lives, and you go, "Oh, I'll have what she's having."
Go, girl!
Wow.
Oh my God.
HODA, that was beautiful.
I want to thank Yael for doing that piece. The first time I've seen it was just right now, but anyway. Okay.
She's totally alive. And how many of us who go through our days every day could say the same?
Oh,
Are you totally alive? She
right.
is.
To Jill and to Ken, thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
And tomorrow, Kathy Lee is going to introduce us to a fantastic fantastic person that she finds the most inspiring. I so want to know more about this man, and Kat's going to introduce us to him tomorrow.
We'll be right back, everybody.